Welcome to week 4 of the Lewisville Leopards season of the basketball league. Let me start it off by saying this. It was a tough week this week for the Lewisville Leopards. They went 0-2. We will go into it, break down the games. We also got the stats as well. We won't have any highlights tonight. But one thing I will say about this team is that I believe that they will continue to fight. They will continue to fight regardless. I don't see them as a team that will give up. But to be honest, man, it's been a tough week this week for them. Like I said, they did go 0-2, but we will get into it, break down each game. First up, we had the Lewisville Leopards versus the Shreveport Magic. This was on Friday, April the 30th. So they had a game on Friday and one on Sunday. Now, a couple of players that did not play. Number one was Austin Wire, and then also Michael Lenore didn't play either game this weekend. So kind of caught me off guard. From what I understand, he is doing okay. Michael Lenore, he was very much missed because he is a star player on this team, and he is needed. You know, he is one of those guys that is definitely needed week in and week out. And I think it's hard, when you're missing your star player. He dropped 40 last weekend. So I know he is always ready. So we are live right now in Plano, Texas. The Lewisville Leopards are in Lewisville, Texas. It is a rainy night tonight, a little bit of storms. So if anything happens to go out, I will probably upload or post something tomorrow. But hopefully everything is good and we won't have any issues. So Game 1, Lewisville Leopards going up against the Shreveport Magic. The starting five was Trey Patterson, Chase Winchester, Balsa Bolshevik, and Gabe Hobbs. I'm missing a name. I believe also that was Shemaine Thomas was also starting. And like I said, a tough day, a tough weekend in work, but, I believe that they will come back strong. So Mavericks score first. Gabe Hobbs gets the first bucket for the Lewisville Leopards. And a big shout out to Gabe Hobbs, man. Whenever he comes into the game, there is a spark that he brings. There is that hustle that he brings. And, he is one of those guys that you want to have on your team because I believe he provides kind of an instant spark. And he's also a coach on the floor. So one of those guys that you definitely want to play with, and also, one of those guys that you appreciate having on your team because I think he has knowledge, on and off the court. Mavericks go on an 8-2 run, opening up the game. That was tough, and that was tough for the Leopards to bounce back from. And then Louisville goes down early, like I said, 8-2. Jesse Williams coming into the game. I was excited about that. I am definitely a Jesse Williams fan, and that guy's got a jumper. Man, I didn't realize how many consecutive shots he just continues to make, whenever he's on the floor. So he is one of my favorite players on this team. I have quite a few favorite players, and also, I respect the way these guys play, and I respect this organization. So, there's a lot of favorite players that I have because they put in work. Man, I see them putting in work. I see them playing in different leagues. I see them trying to better, themselves and better themselves as men. And that's what creating our minds is about. All right, so Lewisville focus on D'ing up and no turnovers. That was my comment. Focus on D'ing up and no turnovers. Shout out to my man Overton Claiborne. Always, man. Always in the building. I got something for you, man, at the end of the year, or probably around August. We have the BS3 Radio Awards. And I'm definitely going to get something to you, man, because you have been supportive every single show, each and every time we go live. So definitely got something for you, Overton. Jared Henderson with a slam, caught the defense slipping. That is his game. His game is to catch people off guard, to dunk on people. He is a very electric player, very electric, and one of those guys that you will be entertained watching him play. You cannot not be entertained by this guy. That is just one of those type of special players that you always are ready and willing to catch and see. So we'll get to the stat sheet so you can see exactly how he did. But again, these guys had a little bit of a tough weekend, but I want to make sure that I give them, shout outs and make sure that I give them some love. I appreciate you, OC, over to Claiborne. Shout out to Walter Strong. He has a podcast on YouTube. The Walter Strong Show does a great job giving you tips and tools to better yourself and to live your Christian life or to improve on yourself. Brandon McElvey and Aziz Fadika comes into the game. And my question was, what type of impact were they going to make? Because honestly, the Leopards needed a spark. They needed a spark. They needed an impact. They really needed somebody to kind of help boost up their offensive play. And it was something that you need. You need sometimes. You need that spark. You need that boost, because without that, it's going to be difficult to go on a run, especially when you have a talented team like the Shreveport Magic. And you're going to have to try to do your best to bounce back. Preston Ragsdale came into the game. I want to give a big shout out to Preston. He is a young kid. I believe he's 18 or 19 years old, playing pro ball for the Lewisville Leopards in the TBL. You see the sign behind me. You see the sign above my head. Nice pass from Balsa to Aziz. Aziz slams it. That's what you got to do. Honestly, in these type of games, you gotta come down with some authority and slam the ball and not only get your team excited, but also get the fans excited as well. Now, they played 2 away games, but still, if you're putting in work and you're getting the crowd up and down, even if you're not necessarily playing at home, that gives you some momentum. So it was good to see Preston get into the game. It was good to see Balsa with a nice pass to Aziz. So it was 23-26 Mavericks up at the end of the first. So they were only down by 3. And I say they as in Lewisville Leopards, only down by 3. So they had, some good opportunities. The Leopards tie it up 30-30. Had some bad turnovers in the second. Shreveport starting to pull away also in the second quarter. Balsa hits a 3 to cut the lead. And then Jordan Lyons of the Shreveport Magic hits a 3 at the buzzer to end the second quarter. It is 52-42 at the half. A little bit of a tough going down by 10 into the half is not an easy thing. Not everybody can come back from that. Chase hits a 3 out of the break. That's Chase Winchester. RJ White, tough player for the Shreveport Magic. He was getting buckets pretty much all night long. Lewisville Leopards, John Moten comes in, interested to see his impact. I watched him the last weekend. He played well in the undiscovered league, so I was really interested to see what he was going to do, in the pro action. And I have to say, he didn't do bad. He didn't make the impact that I thought he was going to make. But I'll say this: he didn't have a horrible game, but I definitely expected to see more out of him. And he had 11, so it's not a bad night. Let me correct myself. That's not a bad night. 11 points, 3 rebounds. Obviously, as you can see the score scrolling down below, it wasn't enough. The Leopards end up losing 123-101. And again, this is definitely a team I believe can bounce back. And if you're wondering, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Lewisville Leopards, which is in Texas. They're part of a league called the TBL, which is the Basketball League. They have teams all over the country. Go to the website, thebasketballleague.net. You can check out a team in your area. Also go to creatingyoungminds.org, where you can check out the Creating Young Minds organization that is the owner of the Lewisville Leopards. All right, so Lewisville Leopards get some buckets and some stops, but they're still down 72-58. I said, is it comeback time? Let's go, guys. Let's get on a run. Was not as successful. They had an alley-oop to Jetpack J. It was a nice dunk. They needed that energy. They needed an energy boost. They needed something to get them excited. They were down by 10 going into the fourth quarter. Shreveport starting to pull away. And I said, man, this team misses Michael Lenore. He was there. He was in the building, but he did not play. Preston Ragsdale hits a 3. Shout out to him. Tough road for a comeback. They were down by too much. Shreveport just continued to pour it on. And Coach Mathis Crowder looked done. You know, he just looked frustrated. And you could just tell. It was just sometimes you just don't have a good day. Like they say, sometimes you just don't have a good day at the office. So they end up losing 123-101. And the Leopards just could not make the necessary stops that they needed to. I was a little surprised because they're normally a strong defensive team, but on Friday it just did not work out. So I believe that they will bounce back. I believe in them. So let's go to the stat sheet. Shreveport Mavericks. They had 2 players with 20 points. The first one was Deshaun Murray. He had 20. Jordan Lyons had 20. Those are the 2 top scorers. They had the majority of their team in double figures. So they were really on one. They had a pretty good day on the court. In the Shreveport Mavericks, let me go to the record so that you can see. They are now 6-2. Lewisville Leopards are now 2-6 after this weekend. Tough weekend, but again, I think they will bounce back. I think this team is gritty. They're that word that we like to say, resilient. I believe that they are. Let's go to the Leopard side so you can see the stats. I'm looking at these on my computer right now. Balsa Bolshevik led the team along with Jarrett, Jetpack, Jay Henderson. They both had 17 on the day. Let's see, 7 rebounds for Balsa and then 4 rebounds for Jarrett Henderson. Jesse Williams with 14. He went 5 for 12. He was hitting everything he was putting up at one point in that game. Chase Winchester with 12. John Moten with 11. Aziz Fadika with 8. Preston Ragsdale with 8. Trey Patterson with 6. Gabe Hobbs with 4. Marcus Brooks with 4. So that was the first game. And I wanted to also pull up the leaderboard in the TBL so you can see where the Leopards are at. In total rebounds, Jarrett Henderson has 11. He's averaging 11 on the season. So he was in the top 10. That's a good thing. That's always a good thing to be on the leaderboard. When it comes down to offensive rebounds, he is leading the TBL with 4.9. That's a good look. When it comes to assists, Michael Lenore is in the top 10 with 6.2. That is a good sign. At steals, Chase Winchester is the first in the TBL with steals with 3.1. That is a good look. Shout out to those guys. And they're putting in work. All right. So they had a tough weekend, but they're still putting in work, doing their thing on the floor. All right. So that was game one. Game two. That was that was a tough one to watch. I'll be honest. You know, when you as covering this team, I know what they are capable of doing. And this second game was difficult. John Moulton started. Chase Winchester, Aziz Fadika, Jared Henderson, and Marcus Brooks. I thought that was a really good starting five to have out there. Gives you some flexibility. Gives you different guys that are mobile on the floor. Michael Lenore and Austin Wire were out again. Now, Michael Lenore was there, but he did not suit up. And I'm sure it was tough for him to watch because that's a game that you want to bounce back and win. So Omaha's finest was the team they played against in Omaha, Nebraska. They score first. The Leopards are down early, 19-8. That does not mean it's over. They still have the capability to come back. Then they were down by 20 at the end of the first, 43-20. Leopards continuing to turn the ball over. Wasn't a good shooting night. Wasn't a good night all around. Again, they'll bounce back. Aziz Fadika shows with a nice shot, and then he gets a dunk. He doesn't dunk often because I think he's just one of those sound players. I would compare him to a Tim Duncan, you know, the big fundamental. He's not going to be doing in between the legs dunks. He's not going to be trying to show out, but he is a very sound basketball player. Leopards pick it up. They go on an 8-0 run. KJ Scott with a monster poster dunk. Not sure who was on. That's not important, but he did have a monster dunk. Omaha playing. They started to play around. You know, they started to do in between the leg passes and, you know, trying to embarrass my guys. That made me upset a little bit. It was 54-30. Devontae Patterson for the Omaha's finest. Shout out to him. He was doing his thing. JC Show with a three-pointer. The Leopards needed some type of spark. You know, they needed something to get them excited. They needed something. It was just one of those games where you're like, make this game competitive. And I'm sure they felt the same way. It was 72-36. The lead started to get out of hand. I was feeling for my guys. And I cover this team, so I know that it had to have been a tough game. I know. So it was 75-42 at halftime. In the second half, I was just thinking, what is it going to look like? You know, what are they going to do to kind of make this thing closer? That was 105-58 in the third. Jetpack has been held in place. You know, normally he's putting up double-digit numbers. Now, he led the team in scoring with 20, but that was a hard 20 to put up. That was a hard 20, but he did it. He did it, but it was a tough outing. This was the Leopards' third straight loss, 131-106. They lose to the Omaha's finest out of Nebraska. This was somewhat of a home game for Chase Winchester. He played college basketball at Nebraska, University of Nebraska, Kearney. So it was somewhat of a home game for him. He's got some roots there. He's went to college there. But it was tough. So let's get to the stat sheet. Also down below, you can go to thebasketballleague.net, creatingyoungminds.org. Also, a very exciting part about this league is that the players get a percentage if you buy their jersey. So go to the website, check out the jerseys, check out the gear, get you some Lewisville Leopards jerseys, hats, shirts. They got some everything on there. Definitely worth checking out. So let's start off with the winning team first. Devontae Patterson with 23 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. KJ Scott with 20. I believe this is Chris Sword. He had 19 on the day, or excuse me, Craig Sword. He had 19 on the day. Also, you had LJ Westbrook. He had 15. Ty Anderson had 15. A lot of their players were in double figures. Malik Amos, he dropped 13. And Brandon Jones had 12. And then there was another Patterson. There was actually 3 guys with the last name Patterson, but Devin Patterson had 9. So it was a big time win for them. It was a tough loss for the Leopards. They'll be back at home next week. I'll let you know the schedule so that you can attend or watch. Jared Henderson dropped 20 and 10. He had a double-double. You know, like I said, it was a tough night, but he had a double-double. Chase Winchester with 16, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. Like I said, that is the reason why he's leading the TBL in steals. Lewis Patterson, Trey Patterson with 15, 8 rebounds, 2 steals. Aziz Fadika with 9, Gabe Hobbs with 8, John Moten with 7, Brandon McElvey with 5, Marcus Brooks with 4, and Preston Ragsdale with 3. That brings you to the end of that game. Coming up next week, let me give you a look at the schedule so that you can see what they have coming up. On the 8th, they play the Dallas Skyline. They'll be playing that game at home at the Macedonia Care Center in Lewisville, Texas. If you are in the area, come through. The tickets are not expensive, or you can watch the game down below, basketballleague.net on TBL TV. And then on the 9th, which is Mother's Day, they play the Shreveport Mavericks again. So they already played them twice. They've lost to them twice, but this is going to be a third time. I believe that they will redeem themselves. And that's what they have coming up next for the Lewisville Leopards. Looking forward to the next 2 games so that they can bounce back and get a W. So thank you all for tuning in to week 4 of the Lewisville Leopards TBL season. We will be back next week, same time, same channel, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, giving you a recap of the Lewisville Leopards in the TBL, which is owned by the Creating Young Minds organization. Go to the website, which you can see down below. Coming up at the top of the hour, you'll be able to check out the forecast with myself, HRB, Wilkes, and Doc. We'll be talking about Exterminate All the Brutes, Part 3. Reviewing that. That is a documentary on HBO Max. It is an amazing documentary because you will learn so much that you did not know, or you'll get a reminder of some things. It gets really deep. It's a powerful documentary that I highly suggest you watch. So in about 30 minutes, you can tune into that. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Have a great evening. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, be safe. It is raining. There is storms, possibly tornadoes as well. So be safe. God bless. God is love. Peace.